I love bongs. In fact, I don't think anybody loves bongs more than me. I treat bongs like Ash Ketchum treats Pokemon, and I gotta catch them all. I've been catching them for years. I'm gonna keep catching them in the future. In fact, I'm gonna see if I can catch a new one today. But I know that bongs are not the safest way to do it, especially if we're talking about combustion. I think smoke is not the safest way to do it. If you want to get high long term and you're smoking every day, you're lighting it on fire, what are you doing? There's better ways to do it. But even doing it every now and then, smoking through a bong can cause bong lung. Now, it's not every hit you take out of a bong, you're just instantly gonna get it. But bong lung is something that you want to be careful and you want to watch out for. It can come in the form of temporary discomfort that maybe goes away after a while, or it could be permanent damage to your lungs that you're dealing with for the rest of your life. For some people, bong lung is chronic bronchitis, it's airway inflammation, it's a bullous lung disease. Bong lung can even come in the form of a collapsed lung. You do not want to collapse your lungs. Now, smoke in general is not as clean as vapor. When you take a big hit of smoke, sure, it gets you high, right? But it also is filled with a ton of carcinogens. When you use a bong compared to something like a dry pipe or a joint or something a little bit smaller, when you use a bong, you're adding in cooling, you're adding in water filtration, you're adding the ability to pull in more smoke at a time. Now, sure, you're filtering it and cleaning it up a little bit, but you're adding in way more smoke, and that larger amount of smoke is going to do some damage to your lungs if you're not careful. Now, you don't want to hold in your hits. I got a ton of content out about this. You don't want to hold in your hits, especially if you're taking the big combustion hits. Do not hold that smoke in. If you take a big ol' hit, you're stretching out your lungs, you're exposing a ton of smoke to that very sensitive lung tissue. Holding it in is just exposing more of that smoke, more of those carcinogens to that lung tissue, which can damage it. For me, a hit is in and out. I'm not trying to hold on to it. I want to get higher. I'm going to do another hit, one that's not going to damage my lungs. While I think holding vapor is less harmful than holding in smoke, I don't hold in anything. I'm just taking rips. I think the bigger the hit means just me pulling in more and exhaling more, not pulling in as much as I can and holding on to it. I'm not trying to smother the hit inside of my lungs. But a large amount of smoke can cause irritation, can cause inflammation, especially if you're doing this all day, right? I know I talk about moderation, and I only smoke in like a 4 or 5 hour window on my Twitch streams. Look, come check out my live streams, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. But also, I feel like the more frequent you smoke, the more likely you are to have issues with your lungs. If you're just constantly pulling in smoke every 30 minutes, every hour, especially if you're doing the big hits and you're holding it, you're not giving your lungs a break when you do that. Now, there's other things that can cause this, so there's other things that can give you issues. It's not just taking rips that are too big and holding it in. I always talk about keeping your piece clean, but you can seriously just damage your lungs from not cleaning your piece. For me, I clean my glass every day. Before my Twitch session, I'll dump the water out, spray some ISO in there, rinse it out. It takes no time at all when you do it every day. I make it a point to spray the ISO in there because I know even if I pour it out and put new water in there, I can still have issues because a water pipe can start forming mold in under 24 hours. You do one rip out of it, in less than 24 hours, you can have mold in there. And simply dumping it out and putting new water in there could still mean you have some of that mold left over in there. If you didn't actually clean it out in between, if you just dump the water out and put new stuff in there, you could still have some of those leftover mold spores that are gonna make it form sooner this time. So seriously, clean your glass every day because some people, they're hitting pond water. They're hitting out of a petri dish. They're hitting something that has, I don't even know what in it. They're pulling in a bunch of extra germs and bacteria along with the carcinogens, and they're taking a big hit and holding it. Imagine stretching your lungs out so far, you got all that sensitive lung tissue in there, and you got this big ol' huge too big cloud of carcinogens and like mold spores and bacteria, and then you're just holding it in your lungs like, yeah bro, I'm getting higher from this. That's not the way to do it, by the way. But a combination of things can really just damage your lungs. Now, I love bong rips. I do them every day, but I always have a clean piece. I never go bigger than I think I need, and I don't do combustion anymore. I think combustion is like outdated now that I got some really solid flower devices. Definitely come check out my live streams if you want to get recommendations on that, because the tubes don't let me do anything here. But I know that bong rips shouldn't be taken lightly. I know I try to take big rips, but I am always prepared for the rips. I think there's certain things that you can do to reduce your chances of getting bong lung. Obviously, keeping your piece clean is going to keep you from inhaling bacteria bacteria and mold spores. Obviously avoiding like low quality material. If you're smoking moldy flower, like you're gonna have issues. I think there's something to be said about the temperature of the smoke too. Like if you're doing a big old huge bowl that gets a big cherry on it, you're hitting it with a torch, that smoke might hit your lungs hotter than if you did a smaller hit or out of a different setup. But I've never understood the idea of like holding in your hit, trying to cough on your hit. I think coughing's gonna get you there sooner too. If you're just constantly like hacking up a lung every time you take a rip, every time you get smoke in your lungs, I think you're just exposing more of that lung tissue to more of the carcinogens. But I've talked to a number of people that told me they had the bong lungs. Somebody on my Twitch stream mentioned this not too long ago. And one of the most common things I hear is just not keeping it clean. Like it's so easy to just not clean your piece, but it's also so easy to just clean it. It takes 30 seconds. But I'm telling you, when you wait weeks and weeks to clean it, it's a daunting task that you don't want to do. But when you do it every day, it takes no time at all. And you're like, oh, bro, my next hit off of this is going to be so good. Think to yourself, yesterday's bong water is not today's bong water. Anyway, don't hold your hits, switch to vaping, clean your piece, and come get lit with me on my Twitch stream, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Where are you at? Oh, and if you have Amazon Prime, link your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account. You can literally give me Jeff Bezos weed money. It's like the sickest thing. You get free stuff with Prime. Get that free Twitch sub. I'll see you later, dudes.